Hello, and welcome to the final session of the Community Facility Enhancement Program Grant Workshop. My name is Angie Schreiner, and I am a Community Grants Advisor with the Ministry of Culture and Status of Women, and I will be leading you through today's presentation. Joining me today is Maida Finley, who will be manning the chat box and answering any general questions you might have. To recap the last few days, on Monday, Maida provided you with an overview of the Community Facility Enhancement Program, and yesterday, Michelle walked you through the application form. Today's presentation will discuss the importance of an accurately completed project budget, and then we will walk through how to complete the project budget template. I would like to take this moment to recognize that this is the homeland of many diverse people in Alberta, including First Nations and Métis, whose ancestors have walked this land since time immemorial. We are grateful to work, live, and learn on this traditional territory that includes Treaties 6, 7, and 8. We don't have a break scheduled for today, so if you need to take one at any point, please feel free. We will be posting this session on the CFEP webpage. During the presentation, your cameras will be turned off and your microphones will be muted. So if you have any questions, please use the chat box and Maida will monitor the incoming questions and respond during the second portion of our session, which is the question and answer segment. If we run out of time and are not able to address your question, please contact our office to follow up. We can be reached at 1-800-642-3855. This number will be posted at the end of the slideshow. Please tell us which organization you are representing today by renaming yourself in the participants list for us. To find the list, click the participants button in the main menu bar of Zoom. It will be located at the bottom of your Zoom window. Please rename yourselves by hovering your mouse over your name in the participants list, clicking the More button, clicking Rename, enter your name and organization, click the OK button. Let's begin our dive into the important yet sometimes confusing world of a project budget. So just exactly what is a project budget and why does my organization need to complete one? In short, a project budget is the financial picture that supports the story you described in your grant application. A clear and well-written project budget helps to set realistic expectations for you, the applicant, and provides us, the funder, with important details such as how much the project is going to cost you, how much money your organization will be required to contribute to the project. It details other monetary or non-monetary donations being contributed by other resources, such as individuals and/or businesses. It tells the funder how much money the applicant is requesting, and last but certainly not least, it tells the funder what the applicant intends to spend the money on and provides the funder with detailed information that allows us to ensure the costs you are requesting funding for are eligible under the program you are applying to. Taking the time to research the financial requirements of your project establishes credibility with the funder and can help the organization to avoid unpleasant surprises. Organizations who do not take the time to research and understand what their project is going to cost them often end up facing a variety of issues such as sticker shock. It is never a good idea to guesstimate the cost of a construction project. Obtaining quotes from the professionals will help to ensure your organization has a reasonable understanding of what the financial commitment will be. Hidden or unforeseen costs. Using a professional may help to uncover unknown obstacles. A good example of a project setback and increased cost is asbestos abatement. These hidden costs often result in funding shortfalls. You want to be sure that you have access to financial reserves to offset hidden costs prior to the start of your project. Your organization is responsible to cover these costs. Returned applications. Our area processes approximately 400 applications each intake. This volume does not always afford staff the time to try and understand the financial details of your project. This may result in your application being returned to you as incomplete. This may also result in your organization becoming a higher risk for the funder. Returning grant dollars. Unfortunately, when a project cannot be completed by an organization, the only option may be to return the grant dollars back to the GOA. In some instances, once funding is returned to the program area, it cannot be reallocated and the money goes into general revenue. By starting the application process well before the deadline, you are giving your organization the best chance for success. During the review process, program staff will review your application and project budget to determine if you have an eligible, viable project and the financial means in place to complete the project. We specifically look to see that the applicant has the capacity or access to appropriate resources to undertake the project, demonstrated sufficient matching resources, access to additional funding reserves to complete the project, and are able to meet any new or increased operational requirements if applicable. When you are ready to begin, download the budget template from our website and save it to your desktop. You can complete the template when time permits. Simply save your changes, close the document, and reopen when you are ready to resume. Remember, the maximum eligible grant request from CFEP Small is $125,000. Applicants are required to contribute a minimum of 50% of the total project cost. Matching contributions may be in the form of cash, eligible donations, or a combination of both. The budget template consists of 5 parts: project funding details, anticipated project expenses, donated labor, donated equipment, donated materials and services. For the purposes of this presentation, we will not be using section D. We recommend that you start with sections A, B, C, and D first. We will start by calculating what your paid costs will be. Think of this section as out-of-pocket expenses. This is section A of the budget template. Use the quotes you obtained to complete this section. Quotes should not be more than 1 year old and should be on business letterhead. You can include GST if it is applicable. In this example, the applicant needs to replace the roof on the community hall and requires a lighting upgrade to the parking lot. A quote from a reputable company was obtained, and these details were added to the anticipated project expenses section. As you can see, the organization will be required to pay $130,793 out of pocket to complete this project. Once you have entered all of your paid costs, you can move to the next section of the budget template and start listing your donated labor contributions in section B of the budget template if applicable. In some instances, organizations have access to volunteers to help them complete their project. CFEP allows organizations to utilize these services to help them with their matching requirement. CFEP has specific hourly rates for unskilled labor, which is $20 an hour, skilled labor, which is $35 an hour. This information is outlined in the program guidelines. Applicants must keep a volunteer sign-in sheet. You may be asked to provide this document at a later date. Donated labor contributions must be confirmed in writing by the donor and on company letterhead if it is a business, and be included with your application submission. It is important to note, donated labor is exactly that. It is donated. This means that the labor being provided toward the project will be at no cost to you, the applicant. In this scenario, we have volunteers who are going to donate their time to remove the old shingles off the community hall. The applicant approached one of the community members, who is a construction supervisor, who advised that it would take 5 volunteers, 4 hours to remove all the old shingles, and then to help get the new shingles onto the roof. This information was provided in writing by the construction supervisor and was added to the application form. In this example, the organization has secured $400 in donated labor services toward their match. Once you have entered all of your donated services into Section B, you can move to Section C of the budget to start listing your donated equipment contributions if applicable. In some instances, organizations have access to equipment to help them complete their project. CFEP allows organizations to utilize these services to help them with their matching requirement. CFEP has a specific hourly rate for donated equipment, which is $70 an hour and includes the operator. This information is outlined in the program guidelines. Donated equipment contributions must be confirmed in writing by the donor and on company letterhead if it is a business, and must be included with your application. In this example, we have a community member who personally owns a boom truck crane. This person is willing to donate their time and equipment to help get the shingles onto the roof. They estimate this will take 2 hours. In this example, the organization has secured $140 in donated heavy equipment toward their match. Once you have entered all of your donated equipment, you can move to Section D of the budget to start listing your donated materials contribution. For this project, there were no donated materials to calculate. Now that you've calculated all of your paid costs in Section A, donated labor in Section B, and donated equipment in Section C, it is time to add it all up to determine what your total project cost is. In this example, we can see that Sections A, B, and C totaled $131,333. This is the total of what your project will cost you to complete. If you can, try to remember this amount for the next 2 slides. Now we need to calculate how much you are eligible to request from CFEP. As discussed earlier, organizations are eligible to request a maximum of 50% of their total project cost to a maximum of $125,000 under CFEP Small. In this scenario, we need to divide the total project cost of $131,333 by 2. Therefore, the maximum the organization would be eligible to request is $65,666, and they will also need to contribute $65,666 toward the project. This information will now be added to the project funding details section of the budget template, which is our next slide. The project funding details is the last section you will need to complete on the project budget template. This section shows the applicant and the funder how much money is being requested, the sources of the applicant's revenues, how much is being donated, and what the total cost of the project is. In slide 13, you will remember that the total cost of the project was $131,333. In slide 14, we calculated the eligible grant request by dividing this number by 2. This gave us the eligible grant request of $65,666. We would then add this amount in the CFEP Small funding grant request row. Now we need to show the details of what the organization will be contributing toward the project. In this example, we know that they have $540 in donated in kind, and will need to contribute $65,127 in cash towards this project. Once you have added all of your revenue sources, you will need to check the total of project funding row at the bottom of the table. The amount you see here must match the amount you calculated when you added sections A, B, and C together to get the total project cost. If it does not match, there is a math error somewhere, and you may need to go back to review the amounts you entered into sections A, B, and C. On this example, you will also see confirmed amount and pending columns. If your funding is in place, you would enter your amounts in the confirmed column. If you are still waiting for confirmation, you would put that amount as pending. If your matching funds are pending, we highly recommend that you provide us with a time frame as to when you will know if you were successful in receiving those dollars. Organizations with pending matching funds are evaluated at a lower priority. In this example, the organization has indicated that the $65,127 cash contribution they are required to make is confirmed. When the organization submitted their bank statement and financial statements, the grant reviewer was able to verify this money was available. If the organization was receiving this money from other funding sources, they would need to include a letter from the external donor confirming that they are providing the monetary contribution toward this project with their application submission. Federal and municipal funding are not considered other provincial funding and can be used to match a CFEP grant request. Organizations who have received provincial funding for the same project must identify the grant on the project budget. Your CFEP grant request may then need to be adjusted accordingly so as not to exceed the maximum 50% total government funding received. Congratulations, you have completed all sections of the budget. This slide will show you how all of the sections come together. Now is a good time to review all of your numbers. Do not be afraid to have somebody double check the information. Does it look reasonable? Is it easy to understand? Is it accurate? Is your organization ready to take on this project, or do you need more time to fundraise? Have your donors provided you with written confirmation of their contributions? Will you still be able to complete this project if you do not receive the full funding request from CFEP? Does the total of project funding match the total project costs, or are they different? In this case, both areas match, so we know we have correctly calculated our budget. If you can answer yes to all of the above, I would suggest you then take a few minutes to sit back and enjoy your masterpiece. Once you are done admiring your work, you can move on. You are almost ready to submit your proposal. Before you click that submit button, use the embedded checklist located at the back of the application form to ensure you have included all required documentation. Incomplete applications may be canceled and returned back to the applicant. CFEP has moved to the electronic funds transfer process, or EFT. EFT is the standard process the government of Alberta uses to provide funds in a secure and timely manner. Please be sure to complete the application for direct deposit section, which can be accessed from our website. This completes our presentation. Before we move on to the question and answer portion, I would like to remind you of the Community Initiatives Program project-based presentation coming next week. Beginning August 16th, we will be hosting 2 sessions to outline the CIP project-based program. Then on August 17th and 18th, we will walk through the application and budget template, much like we just did with the CFEP program. If you'd like to attend these sessions, please visit the CIP project-based webpage to register. This concludes our presentation. For the remaining allotted time, we will answer any questions you might have. We will start with the questions that have popped up in the chat box, and if there is time remaining, we will unmute your microphones and answer any live questions you might have. Please keep in mind, if you have specific questions regarding your project, please contact our office and speak to somebody directly. If we do not get to your question, you can call the toll-free number and someone will be able to assist you with your inquiries. So now, we will stop the recording and answer the questions in the chat box.